not have Melania Trump pushing legislation on my bingo card, but here we are. Really makes you wonder if there could be any Epstein ties here going on. And also, somewhere in the chaos, Ted Cruz actually did one thing right. Mark your calendars, very unlikely to ever happen again. And for the record, he's still forever and always cruising for a bruising in my eyes. And with all this sideways hoopla, by the time Trump clocks what's actually going on, it might be time for another MRI. Real quick, I'm Loren Piretra. Please take a moment to subscribe because I really should have more subs than Katie Miller. And hit that notifications bell, hype this video, and we can get the word out. It takes all of us. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so most of you know how most presidents might commemorate their legacy with, I don't know, a library, a scholarship fund. Well, Donald Trump has other plans.
And we have a policy thing that's going to be unbelievable happening. Should I announce it or should I keep it quiet? I put Vince in charge of the triumphal arc. We're building an arc like the Arc de Triomphe. And we're building it by the Arlington Bridge, the Arlington Cemetery, opposite the Lincoln Memorial. You could say Jefferson, Washington, everything, because they're all right there. And it's something that is so special. It will be like the one in Paris, but to be honest with you, it blows it away in every way. And Vince came in one day and his eyes were teeming. I mean, he couldn't believe how beautiful it was. He saw it and he wanted to do that. That's your primary thing. There is nothing that can compete with that. It's the only city in the world that's of great importance that doesn't have a triumphal arc. You know what that is? And this one is going to blow them all away. The one that people know mostly is the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, France. And we're going to top it by, I think, a lot.
So the reaction on Twitter was, people just want healthcare. Healthcare, please. People really just want healthcare. And if you know, maybe if we could stop paying for other countries' wars and terror, we could have it. Oh, and you know who else had an arc built? Hitler. He had Robert Speer design a massive triumphal arc for Berlin that it would have literally been twice the size of Arc Triumph. It was part of his whole Germania plan to rebuild Berlin into this insane monument to himself. They never built it because, he lost the war and everything. So when someone starts yapping about building a massive arc to celebrate how great they are, it's coded, chat. And there's probably a reason most presidents just stick with libraries. Like, real quick, just think about it. Even if your approval rating is not in the absolute fucking gutter across economics, trade, climate, and literally every other policy category, it's just weird. Anyway, I need to play this again one more time because I need you to just look at how Melania Trump's body language is. I'll speed it up so you don't have to go through the Trump babbling part again. Melania is doing what my dog Willa does, self-soothing. This is what we call self-regulation, a little rhythmic calm, the nervous system slide to side, which is a nervous system completely destroyed by marrying Trump, who has destroyed all that is good, like retirement and ACA subsidies and, kindergartners' freedom to go to school without them and their mothers being pepper sprayed and kidnapped. And this video actually sent me down a little bit of a Melania rabbit hole because I was like, what does this bitch do all day? And how does she pass the time every single day until the day the headline drops? And here, I'll play a little thing because it turns out she was just a few days ago in December at a congressional ball giving a shout out to MAGA Mike Johnson.
So I want to thank you. Maybe our First Lady would like to say something.
Good evening. Welcome to the White House. As the President said, our greatest triumph in my office, in the First Lady office in 2025 is...
First of all, how rude is it that no one even stops talking? That's how you know it's a room full of people who don't think women should vote. Second, she calls him the president, which is so distant, like anything to create distance and build a wall. See what I did there? Anything to keep any sort of emotional framing out of her mouth. Anything to avoid intimacy with her husband at all costs. And her green card, her deplorable green card, Trump. And before I even show you the policy she's introducing, this is the part that just really gets me. And I'll say this from my perspective as clearly a white woman. I could not imagine watching this as a Latino. Like, your family's been here for decades, working their asses off, paying taxes. Maybe your parents brought you here as a kid. Maybe you're a third generation and your family's been here longer than Melania's been alive. And you're watching this woman who came here on a visitor visa like 30 years ago, stumbling through her words, while your tia, who was born here, is terrified to go to the grocery store because her friend's husband was kidnapped and disappeared. Melania pulled visa stunts that would get brown people put in cages yesterday. She worked here on a tourist visa before even getting proper authorization, which is technically illegal. Ask me if I give a fuck or if it impacts my life. Absolutely not. But this hypocrite bounced between visa types until she got citizenship. Cool. Lady Einstein, okay? But now that exact same path is basically impossible if you're coming from what Trump calls a shithole country. His actual words, by the way, meaning anywhere in Africa, the Caribbean, or Central America. What do all those countries have in common? Okay. And she literally used chain migration to bring her parents over. Trump called this policy, chain migration, a disaster for America. And all these angry Republican go Brandon people parrot these talking points back. They do everything these Looney Tunes say. Meanwhile, Melania's parents became citizens in 2018 because of her status, Lady Einstein. In the exact same year, he was saying family reunification is destroying this country. Low-income white Republican men need to understand that people's grandparents are not the reason you can't get a job or afford a home. It's her husbands. It's her green cards. And I want to show you more from this clip because what she says next is interesting.
I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate your bipartisan, overwhelmingly bipartisan support, and across the House and the Senate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker Johnson. And I hope you will be excited to support my new legislative initiative in 2026. Some of you already know about it because it's already in the works. Thank you very much. I wish you and your families a very happy and Merry Christmas and a healthy New Year.
So I was curious, what legislation are you up to, Melania? And I see it's called the Takedown Act, which kind of sounded familiar. And it's actually a piece of legislation outlawing the distribution of non-consensual intimate imagery. And my first thought was, okay, this is actually something I could with. And my second thought was, how is Trump somehow going to try to use this as a loophole into getting out of the Epstein files? Because D-Day is fast approaching. December 19th, it's going to be here fast. And then after this, the president joked that he wasn't among those who knew about this.
Thank you.
Well, I just heard about that for the first time. The only thing I can tell you, I know one thing for sure, Mr. Speaker, it's going to be great. It's going to be great for children. Okay? I don't know what it is she's doing, but I know it's going to be great for children because she loves children and she's got a wonderful boy and she's very proud of her boy, but she loves children. And if she puts it out, it'll be maybe unanimous again or whatever that was, but very close, unanimous again. I want to thank you all. Have a great Christmas.
Trump just said, I just heard about it for the first time. Okay, so Melania is making a face like a cat jumping out of a dumpster, while we've got Trump straight up saying, I just heard that for the first time, which is great because Donald Trump signed it. He signed it into law on May 19th, 2025. Can we get those MRI test results again? Please, somebody. Does somebody need to run another test where we ask Trump, please circle the lion, circle the camel, and point to the rhinoceros? Anyway, Melania submitted a quote somewhere, and it was picked up by the New York Post. I'll read it to you. I'm not going to do the Melania voice because I can't. Artificial intelligence and social media are the digital candy for the next generation. Sweet and addictive and engineered to have an impact on connectivity, development of our children, she added. But unlike sugar, these new technologies can be weaponized, shape beliefs, and sadly affect emotions. The quote was full of M dashes, which sort of leads me to believe that ChatGPT or AI wrote it. But anyway, Take It Down Act, basically, it makes it a crime to create or share intimate images of people without their consent, including those AI-generated deepfakes that have been such a problem. The big thing is it forces websites and platforms to take down this stuff within 48 hours. And once they're notified about it, they can't just remove that one instance. They are responsible to actively look for and remove copies too. The whole point is to protect people, especially kids, from unconsensual sexual images. That kind of image-based abuse. The FTC is in charge of enforcing it, but not everyone is totally on board. Some privacy advocates are worried it could lead to censorship issues or mess with encrypted messaging. So there's all this debate about trade-offs, but in my perspective, this is actually a really good step. I've talked about it on here a number of times before, including more recently following the story of a 13-year-old girl out of Louisiana who was expelled following complete and total inaction from her school and their administrators when she reported that her young male peers created and distributed images of her around school. And so she may or may not have smacked the guy on the school bus, who's to say? But it is a story worth going back to because women are disproportionately targeted as victims of sexual deepfakes. And I think the stat is somewhere literally in the ballpark of 97 to 99% of the times women are victims. So these images, this AI deepfake trend is meant to destroy somebody. Like, it's all about humiliation and control. The person sharing them knows it will wreck the victim's reputation. It will wreck their relationships, maybe even compromise their job because people unfairly judge them, even though they didn't do anything wrong. And once it's online, it spreads everywhere and you can never fully get rid of it. So the victim just deals with that trauma and harassment forever. It follows them. Meanwhile, the creep who made it usually faces zero consequences. And I have seen it play out a lot of times in my career in business. Women are forced to take breaks or step back from their primary career on social media, their main source of income, or they miss out on brand partnerships and sponsorships because Kellogg's or whoever doesn't want to be associated with that. So they lose sponsorships and they lose money an opportunity because of what somebody did to them. It's complete bullshit because they did nothing wrong, but they're the ones who end up carrying all the professional and financial consequences. So while I think Melania is completely terrible for her complacency and participation in the Trump administration, this is actually a decent piece of legislation. And I'm going to say it correctly this time. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, which may explain why Ted Cruz actually made sense for once. Ted Cruz actually also sponsored this bill, though he technically didn't sign it since senators introduced bills, but the president signs it, even though the president seemed to have blacked out signing this one into law. This was back in June of last year, and it went on to be passed and become law in 2025 this year. Cruz was shockingly one of the main people pushing for it, and he was making this whole point about how if you post a scene from The Lion King, it gets taken down immediately because of copyright. But when it's somebody's actual life being destroyed with these fake explicit images, tech companies just go, meh. So he wants to give that same urgency to protecting people. The bill would criminalize deepfake revenge, non-consensual images, and again, force platforms to remove images within 48 hours. And the reason he's doing this is because this 15-year-old girl from Texas, Ellison Berry, came to DC to share her story. Some kid at her high school took normal photos of her and her friends, used AI to make them sexually explicit, and then posted them everywhere. She woke up to a flood of texts and was terrified to go to school. Her mom said she felt completely helpless, like there was nothing she could do to protect her daughter, and those images could be out there forever. Oh, and the kid who did it, he just got a little suspension, left the school, and his charges will be completely dropped by the time he turns 18. So yeah, Ellison's being super brave about speaking out and making sure there are actual consequences and that other victims know that they're not alone. But hey, at least Disney's intellectual property is always safe. And listen, if this video expanded your perspective, I am Loren Piretra. I am Loren P, Loren like Lorena across all social channels. Subscribe, share this with a friend. Families belong together, and fuck Donald Trump.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.